And welcome back to Thursday. What's happening, everyone? Hope you're having a great week. I know I am. It's Thursday. Everything's going great. We have a few things to do, couple things to do today. There's a couple things going on in the studio. I am actually getting caught up, which is really nice. It kind of lets me get some of the other things done, which is good as well. So that's what we got going on. I only have a couple things for show and tell, so we'll jump right into it. One big thing that I want to mention right off the bat, and I pinned it to the top, we're running the summer sale here. So that will get you 10% off everything in the store, and that is code SUM23. So I pinned it in the comments, and take advantage of that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get going. But let's get going. Show some show and tell and do some stuff, and I'll say hello to everyone. All right. Switch it around. Hello, everyone. Here we go. Dan, what's up? James, what's happening? Yay. All right, let me see if I can pull some of this stuff out here. Yeah, that's good. Come on, there we go. Okay, so welcome, everyone. What's happening? Thursday, this fine Thursday. Cody Adams, what's happening? All right, let me do a little bit of show and tell first, and then we'll just move right along. So we got a couple things I want to kind of do today. One quick thing, and then we'll work on the Chevy. So, real quick though, I've been spending my time trying to get ahead on the Open Studio series, which came out, each episode comes out on Wednesday. So episode, I think it was 50 was yesterday. Yeah, 50. And then, which I totally forgot to turn the microphone on, which was a blast. So I had to go back in and do some weird overdub after. So James, what's up? And so anyway, so I got that one off. So I decided to just film a few of them in advance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the painting. And if you watch, you'll have to watch a few episodes to get it caught up to here. But you guys will get the sneak preview of what it looks like right now, which will be approximately 4 weeks in advance. So you're seeing this in the future. So here is how this is coming out. I'll lighten this up a little bit because it's a bit too dark because we don't have lights on it. No, actually I won't. I'll move the lights over. So there we go. So I'm nearing finishing the tank now. I got to work on the dents on the next episode, which will be in September, the first episode of September. And then I just start moving on to the motor. Once the motor is done, it's a few minor adjustments across the whole thing, and this painting's all set. I already have the frame for it. It's ready to go. So I just got to work on the backing. The backing is that liner that sits underneath this. It adds like a extra little pinstripe around the whole thing. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I might use copper leaf. I was also thinking about using, since we're doing the UK feed on Thursdays, Del Stanton and Flake King makes that the rust, the artificial rust material stuff. I've seen that work in action. Marge used it on a bunch of her projects during her show, and it's amazing. So I might do that too. So I think that's what it might be. Here we go. James, what's up, buddy? Bobby Silva, what's happening, pal? Yeah, so that's how that's coming. I'm super, 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 super happy. It's been a long haul for this one, but it is definitely working out. I was going to actually work on the other painting, the other of the Fords today, because I do need to get that one finished. That's the last one in that series. However, I also want to get this 57 Chevy done because the Chevy will be done a lot faster. So I thought I'd bang that out. Last week, we started the Copper Sound Iris pedal, and this is how this came out. I finished it up. I did some of it on Facebook, and then I did the rest of it. I just did finish the rest of it yesterday. So that is how that came out, which I was happy with that too. Yeah, Cody, and the stuff is really, really awesome. Del did a great job. I forget the actual name of it. Someone might be able to remind me, but the stuff is really, really cool. I do love it. So, Franz, what's happening, buddy? Here we go. Brad Mummery, what's going on, pal? All right, so Brad's on too. I did a painting for Brad of his Oldsmobile a while ago, and I actually did it like an open studio. I recorded everything, and the idea behind it was I was going to put it on the website as kind of a, like the Kiwi Terry painting is. Just kind of like you pay $3 and you get the download. But the files were it was just too huge with all the videos. So I'm thinking about just putting it up as an open studio, but run it parallel with whatever else is going on. So you'd actually get 2 open studios every week. I'm contemplating that. The other thing I'm contemplating is membership for YouTube. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the membership for YouTube or if I'm just going to do a Patreon. So that's all in the works too, but we'll figure it out. And today's cheers is coffee, so cheers to all of you. This is my shop cup that has paint all over it, which is fun. JC, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so today's cheers is coffee. Not so much just because I need the coffee, because I love coffee, and not so much that I actually don't need the beer, because this summer has been a very round summer, if you know what I mean. So I got on the scale the other day and it was a little bit higher than I would have liked. So unfortunately, when it comes time to drop the excess weight, bread in a bottle is the first to go. So stick to coffee for that. All right, that's all show and tell. So let's do it. One last programming note about YouTube. If you guys noticed, I think it was last Monday, I posted the Model Monday. It's not going to be a regular feature, but I want to keep it semi-regular, so it's not like months between. So I'm building this this ATST from Bandai, which is a blast. So what we're going to do today is, real quick before we start the Chevy, is this is the first scale model that I've used these photo etched parts with, which are really neat. You buy these if you've ever done scale modeling. You get all the models and all, the pieces and everything. But in a lot of instances today, you can buy these photo etched add-on packs that just add a ton of detail that they can't get out of just injected plastic. So I bought this kit for that, and I figured I'd use that. So if you watch the video, the Monday video, I talk a lot about that. So what we're going to do today is, real quickly, here are the new replacement seats for the ATST. And I needed to get a coat of Autoborn sealer on them. So you guys are going to do that with me. Take 2 seconds to do, but it'll be fun. So these are all, it's metal. It's all that metal that I just showed you. And you just bend it into shape. And it makes these super detailed parts, which is kind of fun. All right. Now, like I said, I want to make this quick. So I've already put the paint in the brush before you guys got here. This is Autoborn Sealer Gray, but in order to run it through this brush, which is the 0.3 millimeter 113C from Rich Pen, I have to reduce this. So I do reduce it, but then I add a little bit of 4050 to it. You don't need to, but I really want to keep that. This is a primer, so I want to keep the ability to stick really, really well. So I'm just going to put a coat of this stuff on here. Really light, like everything. And there are obviously 2 seats. You can see I want to make sure that's focused. Actually, I'll get in closer on this one so you can really see it. And then that way I can focus it. There we go. You can see the brass, kind of, I think it's brass, it's coming through, which is what the photo etch material is made out of. So what I've done is, when I folded all this, there were some gaps in it. So what I did was, I actually just treated it like a piece of automotive stuff. So I used some Mr. Hobby Surfacer, which is like a filler, sandable filler, and I put that in all the, any of the gaps or cracks or whatever, and then I just sanded it out. So it left, leaves some paint on there, or some areas that are open. Let's see, to cover those up. The nice thing about the Autoborn sealer is this is also sandable. So think about that. That's the surfacer as like a heavier filler, and then you can sand that. You can also finish the job with this Autoborn sealer. So I'll fill in, if there are any little minor divots left, I'll be able to just sand them out, and it'll be ready to go. I know this is kind of a off-topic thing, but I thought it'd be fun for you to see. And then we'll get into the Chevy, I promise. Looks good. Yep. So I'll leave that, and then later on today I'll jump back on that and just give it a quick little sand and see if I've got everything and everything's filled in. If you know, if it needs a little bit more filler, then I'll do that. I'm spending way too much time on those two seats because it's the first time I've ever used photo etch, and there's photo etch for the whole kit, and I really want to make sure I get it down, like feel real comfortable with working with it before I move on to a part that's you're really going to see. So if that, you know, if you've done models and, you know, you've worked on them, you know, especially like airplanes and stuff, you can spend all the time you want on the cockpit, but once you put the canopy on, it's difficult to see all that work you did, and I get that. And, you know, some people, but this I really want to, you know, kind of use that to get my chops down. All right. So back to this guy here. So I want to finish this because I want to try to get this done so it can be included in the sale. The sale runs through the end of August, so I really want to get this finished before August. So that someone who would like this can take advantage of it. This painting is not going to be even though it's going to be like, you know, pretty much full blast, full color, all that fun stuff. I've found a way to kind of reduce the amount of time that it's going to take me to do this painting by the way it's composed and what I've left out, like the wheel itself. That saves a lot of time not having to do, you know, a really complex wheel. The body itself is, you know, is pretty straight ahead. So anyway, all that reduces the amount of time that it takes me to do this, so that way I can put it up for a lot less. The framing on this has a lot to do with it too. I'm going to use an ampersand open frame for this instead of the usual crazy exotic wood UV glass blah 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 frame. I shouldn't say blah blah blah, it's actually really nice, but that saves hundreds when I don't frame it like that. So again, so this will come in, you know, at a really good price, but it'll also, you know, be subject to the sale, which will give you a better price. All right. I know. Shut up and paint. So here we are. I think we did some of this, the chrome here. So what I think I'm going to do is, since we did that chrome, and I really should finish the chrome, I'm going to jump back to the way I normally do things, and I'm going to get all the body in first. Or should I do the interior first? Let's see. Let me back you out a little bit. I'll show you what I'm looking at. So again, it's attempting to save the maximum amount of time. The interior here is pretty well kind of it's pretty well separate from everything else, the body and everything. So in that instance, I can do that either before or after. Things like the trim, like the stuff here, this stuff really needs to be done after the body color, because there's less chance of this color getting on this color than this color getting on this color. So if I do all the chrome trim first and then try to tuck in the body color, I'm definitely going to get red on this. But it won't really happen the other way because there's so little paint going on this section. So I think the same thing when I get to the body, you know, inside the interior. Like, is that part going to mess up the body? And with this, there's even the chrome trim around it. So I think I can get away with doing the body first, or the interior. But will that make a good video for today or live feed? And I don't really know that it will, because there's not much going on in there. I mean, there is, but it's pretty boring. Yeah, let's start putting in the color of the car. That might be the way to go. I think that'll work. Michael, what's up? What up? Oh, you guys, the only reason I just seized up is because I just did that entire open studio without the microphone on. So I want to make sure I pressed the button and it was good. So Michael, yeah, I don't, if everyone else hears me, that's good. Michael, what I find is when I'm watching YouTube and Facebook, if I'm having weird glitchy problems, I usually just sign out and then sign back in, and that usually fixes it. It's the oldest IT trick in the book, I guess. But yeah, it was a drag finishing that entire open studio and then realizing I didn't have the mic on, because I can't. It's live. I mean, it's as live as this is. So even though it's recorded, I can't go back and redo it because I've already painted everything. So it's kind of a bummer when that happens, because then I have to try to figure out what I was talking about when I was working on it. All right, so let's do this. So the way I kind of handle this, this body the color is complex. There's a lot going on in this. So you'd look at this car, and if I asked you what color it was, you'd say red, and you would be right. However, what you really see when you look at this is a bunch of colors. It would be so nice to be able to base this in one color and then just kind of put in the other stuff. But in this instance, it won't work that way, because you have what was going on in the background of me when I took this picture was there was a bank of clouds right here, and they divided the sunset and then the blue of the sky above. So this bluish purple obviously is totally different than this orangey yellow color down here. So I can't just base it in pink and go for it. I mean, I could, but I'd be fighting it the whole way. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up taking it in bits and pieces. So I'll base the orangey yellow, then I'll base the purpley pink, and then I'll put the red in, and then I'll be able to, you know, kind of go to town. There is another car reflected right here. You can see it right there. That I'm going to take out. I usually do that, especially when I'm at take these pictures at like a drive, you know, like a cruise day or cruise night when there are cars on top of one another. Because I have the sky here, and I'll just treat that as the horizon, and it'll just clean it up. It'll make a better, you know, kind of a better painting. All right. So that's that. So let's get at this. What I have to do is I have to do some cutting here so I can start laying this out cleanly. And it is what, August something? 10th? No. 10th? Yeah, 10th. It's the first time down here in the studio that I actually feel like I need the fan on. It's the underground art dungeon maintains a nice temperature almost all the time. But as summer drags on, man, it gets warm down here. So we'll see what happens with that. All right. And of course, you know, I'm sure everyone has been keeping up on the fires in Maui. So just a crazy, crazy tragedy that's going on there. It's been a hell of a summer between the fires in Canada and now the total. I mean, just that absolute. It looks like a war zone there. It was just devastating. So prayers and thoughts and aid go to our friends in Hawaii. Holy crap. All right, let's do this. So I have another thing I do too a lot. Let's see if I got one here. I do. Excuse me. When I make the photocopies, I'll usually do two exposures essentially. I'll change the contrast and the amount of brightness in the copies, because both of these will give me different information, which is nice. So I'll use this copy here to get like all the dark areas, because all the dark areas are lit up. So I'll be able to see where the tires are and anything that's tucked in the shadows. But when I'm doing stuff like this, I'll need to see all those, you know, different areas of color in the body. So that's kind of why I use two different photocopies. I'll keep an eye on the comments as best I can. The other thing, and God. So I went to Staples, where I get my, you know, paper and office-y type supplies, and I was out of paper, or was running out of paper, so I got new paper, and I got the wrong paper. For those who have asked me a bunch of times what kind of paper I use, I usually just use the premium inkjet, laser inkjet printer from Staples, that paper, but I buy 28 pound, which is what this stuff is right here. However, I bought 24 pound, and I swear it's like night and day different. Before I was like, yeah, just get good paper, but now I'm like, no, I really need 28 pound. It's like, the other stuff feels like tissue paper. It's crazy. All right, so what are we going to do first? We're going to do the lighter colors first. So the yellow and the purple, purpley pink. Just got to figure this out. Let's do the orange first. I got to clean the brush out anyway, so it's not a huge, I mean, I got to do it either way. So it's not like I'm going to save any time by doing one or the other. So what we're going to do, it was me, and I'm in the car at the Wi-Fi. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm always gun shy with the feeds. There is a kind of a weird latency thing that's been going on lately with a lot of the feeds. I have been thankfully immune until I opened my big mouth, and then I started having the same thing happen. What's going on is the feed will start crashing on your end because the upload doesn't get to YouTube fast enough. So there's ways to kind of combat it. I haven't had to lately, but yeah. So whenever I see you guys having an issue, it sets all the alarms off. I appreciate you guys letting me know when things are wonky too. All right, so this is the brightest part of the orange. Show you what we're going to do here. Now this is gray, right? Yeah. Okay. Gray. I was talking about the ampersand board because that's going to play a part in this too. I'll show you. Well, I'll show you what I'm doing. Let's start with the orange. So it's like an orangey yellow. It's going to start with yellow. So that's what I need. Now what I want to do is I want to see if it happens anywhere else. It does happen right here in the car, but we pretty much figured we're going to get rid of that reflection, so that's good. And it doesn't happen anywhere else. So that's good also. All right, that's a good place to start. You're going to love this. All right, so this is one of the instances where having a gray base does not help me at all. It did help me on the chrome. It was a lot of fun on the chrome. It worked great. But for the color part, I'm going to have to cover it all, basically. If I don't, it's going to just give the color a real muddy feeling, and I don't want that. So again, what we're using this as is a drawing guide. I'm going to line this up really carefully. Oops. Yeah, like really carefully. It is late August. I can hear the cicadas outside too, which are fun. Reminds me of being a kid. All right. So I want to make sure I'm in the right spot. Yeah, it looks good. So again, when I'm doing this, when I'm lining up these photocopies, I'll just pick 3 points that aren't really near each other, like the top of this fin back here, the exhaust tip, and then this, the rocker panel line here. So if I get all 3 of those, it's pretty much guaranteed that the whole thing is lined up. And big old jumbo magnet right here, that's all we'll need. Coffee! I love coffee. Cheers to that. All right, let's put it in. Do I want to use this brush? I do want to use this brush. I'm going to use the primer brush. So I'm going to clean this out real quick after I dump it all over myself. That's fantastic. So how is everyone's week going? Good? Everyone getting stuff done. Michael, the painting's coming out really cool. I love that you put the Dolly Parton back on. I would have never known, and that makes me so happy because I love that about a painting where someone will take something that's missing or add something that wasn't there, and you never know. You never know that wasn't there in the first place. It's a killer car too. Unbelievably nice car. I have a musician friend, a piano player friend that has always been into Cadillacs, and it was always so much fun when I was a kid. I worked in a music store, and we used to always talk cars and stuff. And yeah, his cars still are. I'm sure he had 2, and I'm sure they're both still amazing. He's a crazy car guy without being a crazy car guy. Like, he doesn't work on cars, but he has a great understanding and knowledge, and also knows how to take care of a car. He, like I said, he's a musician, travels around a lot, and he always has like van type vehicles for his music, for playing out and stuff. And I remember he had this one van that he had like a gajillion miles on it, because he would religiously change the oil and do maintenance on it all the time, nonstop, just baby the thing in all the best ways. And it was crazy watching him take care of that stuff. Plus, he's one of the best piano players I've ever known. I mean, he is a monster. He has a building named after him at Berkeley in Boston, Berkeley College of Music. So yeah, he's super, super cool guy. If you follow me on Facebook, my personal page, every Christmas I post up a video of him playing some Christmas songs at our friend's music store. So his name is Steve Heck, by the way. Yes, Heck as in what the heck. All right, let's get to it. So this brush is cleaned out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a light yellow, a lemon yellow, because what I'm doing is this color ultimately is going to be orange, but this is the primer. This is the base coat. So we'll grab some white here. That car's older than me. Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's funny. My first car was a 66 Mustang, and I used to always joke that, the car could go buy beer before I could. But yeah, he's quite the guy. Yeah, Steve Heck, look him up. He is crazy. He's insane. All right, so I've got white in there. I'm going to use a nice warm yellow, so I'll use golden yellow right here. And for all those who are here who jump in on Monday night as well, I can't show you the 543s for Monday, but I will give you some teasers. There will be a 543G, which is the 23 karat gold leaf 543. And there's also going to be a 543C, which is a 543 with color. So if you are around on Monday, join in and see what's going on with that. What did I do with the white? I just had it. What did I do with it? Did I really put it over there? That was dumb. All right. I put in too much yellow, so I'm just adding some white to it. I really want a pale yellow, like that. The car's older than me. I love that. All right. Yellow, yellow, yellow. So again, we're thinking primer with this. And this is going to seem weird in the beginning, but stick with me on this. It'll make sense as we go. All right. So yellow first. So this, I'm going to saturate this. I want this completely yellow. So this is where having a gray ground coat is going to fight against me. If this was a white, it should be a white panel. I should have just left it white, but I painted them all gray. But I learned my lesson. I won't do that on the next one. So anyway, because it's gray, I have to completely reach saturation with this yellow or it stays this muddy green. See how it's like that? If it was white, I'd hit this a couple times and it would be done because the white will stand right on the white. And remember, this is a series, so there are going to be 6 of these paintings. And they're all going to be, the tying factor is this red color. All the cars will be this red color. Michael, have a good one. Awesome, buddy. Very cool. Astro, what's up? The other thing I could do too, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but we're going to see how this pans out. I may still do it. So let me pull this off. So there's your yellow. So that's bright. That's bright enough. If this wasn't going to be bright enough, if this still looked gray even through that or greenish because of the shift, what I would do is I would cut out all the individual parts and then spray this all the body parts white first. And then that would take care of that. But I'm going to be in good shape. So I'm not worried right now. All right, the next thing I got to do is I got to spread that out a little bit so that it'll act more, like I said, as a primer. So, but what I need to do though is I want to make sure I don't get any paint on this chrome bit here. So I'll just use the same copy since it's right here. And we're still focused, right? I'll make sure we're okay on the focus. Come to me. Okay, good. All right, so yeah, I mean, I can just use the corner of this. Save another copy. So really all I want to do is I just want to make sure that I don't get paint on what I already painted. And this is a great example of why I wouldn't paint the chrome first. I just did it for the feed. Because if the chrome wasn't all nice and finished right here, I could just paint all this yellow in and it would cover all of the, the chrome would cover it later. But it didn't work out that way because I wanted to do the chrome for the feed. It's not a major deal, but still. So we're just going to kind of cut it off because really all I'm worried about is making sure the chrome doesn't get any paint on it. I'm really concentrating on this area I just painted. So pull that out like that. Oops, almost dropped it. All right. Sorry. This line's up here. Make sure I got it right on the money. Again, I'm mostly worried about that fin and the tail light more than anything. There we go. That's good. Drop the magnet on that. It should be good. You know what I'll do? Add a little bit of extra security there so we make sure we stay down. This is just a little piece of galvanized steel. If you want to see how I do those, you can check out the Tech Tuesday on that. But that goes right on there on the tail light, and then the magnet goes down. So now what happens is the little piece of steel holds down that piece of paper without having to try to put a magnet there and have it slap around and get crazy on me. All right, so the yellow. So I'm just going to kind of spread this out a little bit. I should have done that, but it's going to be okay. And I'm going to spread, this again, this is more like a primer. So it's just kind of, really loosely and thrown in there in a way. That's annoying. Okay, good. I know you're looking at this thinking like, what is going on with this? Have faith, have faith. So pull this off. That's good. Yay, I didn't get any on there. That's fantastic. A hen's tooth. Yeah, kind of. Every time I need a new one, I cut it and then I just drop them in this Altoid box thing. So it's great. It's great. Working out really good. It looks like a neon light now. But anyway. All right. Next step is I'm going to do the same thing with the blue up in here. This, the sky color. This kind of purpley color up here. That's the next one. All right. So got to cut another one. That's all right though. Put that there. Use that one? No, I can't see that one. I want this one. All right. Just want to make sure you guys can see it. There we go. All right. So it's this, again, it's this whole section up here. In fact, the top of the clouds are right here. That's what this little pink thing is. Do I still have yellow? I do still have yellow in there. All right, we're going to abort for one quick second. I'm going to put some yellow on the spot where the clouds are. That's going to make more sense. All right, get some yellow on that. Is that? I don't know what that is. Anyway, all right. Yeah, in hindsight, this car should have been white. Now, the problem with that is not that I'm not going to be able to get this to look the right way. It's just going to take a little bit longer because I have to fight the gray. The ultimate problem is if all 6 of these, say on the next one, next car, I say, okay, I ran into some, issues with having a gray base on this one, so I'm going to fix that and do the white base on the next one. Those two paintings, those two reds overall will look different. They just will. If they're side by side, you'll be able to see the difference. Again, it's supposed to be a series, and if one of them is different than the rest, that's not going to be good. However, it might make a good story, so I think I might run with that. I do have a tin full of hen's teeth that are rare. Yellow. What I'm going to do with this one too. Wow, I just cooked that brush. Okay, good. What I'm going to do with that is I'm also going to put a little bit of white on this too, because I don't want it as yellow as the sunset one. So I'm just going to take some straight white. Not straight white, it's reduced, but just some white, and kind of go over this to kind of mute it a little bit. There we go. Because what this is the reflection of the sun coming through the clouds that are reflecting off the back of the car. So you've got that sunset color, but there's still clouds, so they're still white, basically. Oh, it's much better. Okay, good. All right. Let's do the blue. Actually, I've got the white in the brush, so that works out well. I'm going to cut out the next section, which will be the blue. What we'll do is I'm going to paint this whole deck lid, the rear lid, for you, and then and instead of doing the whole car, I would normally do the whole car at the same time because it's all the same red and everything. But for you guys, I'll do this back lid so you can kind of see it come together. You don't have to wait. I know that's not how it works on Thursdays. Thursdays are usually just kind of go with whatever's going on here, and that's it. Do I want to do that? Yes, I do. No, okay. I want to do that. Yeah, I do. But since this painting isn't a painting that has to be done right away, I mean, I'd love it to be done for the sale. I want it to be done by the end of August. But it doesn't have to be done. You know what I mean? If this was a painting that was like it has a deadline, like the eagle, the jet eagle painting and all that I did with you guys here, then you guys just in for it. You know, you guys got to sit through whatever's going on. But with this one, I can kind of take some liberties with it and mess around with it. All right, the other place for that blue is right along the seam of the trunk lid, or for my UK friends, for the bonnet. Right? Is that right? Bonnet's in the back? I think. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I still love the weird gear heads and your petrol heads. For all my years of watching Top Gun. Not Top Gun, sorry, Top Gear. There we go. I got Top Gun stuck in my head. All right, that's good. And I got to look for anywhere else that might pop up. And it does kind of pop up on this fin too. So we'll just, I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm just going to poke a little bit in on this fin as well. Save me the trouble of having to do it later. There we go. It does appear on this one too. Shoot. All right. Sorry. I'm doing this one too. I said I was just going to do the rear deck, but I'm not. I'm going to do the whole thing. Well, this part anyway. I won't do the whole thing with the red. It'll save us time. Okay, so those are all the areas that have that kind of purpley blue color, the sunset sky color. The boot, that's right. The boot, the bonnet is the front. Boot and bonnet. All right. So I have white in the brush, which is really good, because what I may do is I may actually end up using it as a primer like we were just talking about. Oh, I missed that corner right there. That corner still has some paper in it. All right, there we go. Good. Boot on the back. Thanks, Jim. All right, let's line this up. So this lines up here. Yeah, see, I'm going to, since I have the white in here, I'm going to kind of trim my losses, as it were. Same thing, I'm lining up the trim on the rocker panel there. And then I'll just jump back to the other tail fin here, the passenger side fin. It's a little bit low there, but that's okay. Is it though? Am I lined up on the roof line? No. So it is right. A little bit higher. Like that. Ah, much better. Okay. Drop some magnets there. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit. Not really cheat, but do what I should have done in the first place. The top of this up here is really bright anyway. So it's nice that I can use the white here. But down here, where it kind of fades into that purpley bluish color, this white will act as a nice kind of base for that. Okay, same thing here. There's this fin, there's the same deal going on. It's like a brighter bit on the edge, and then it fades out to the sunset, or the sky color anyway. And same here. We on? Yeah, we're on. Actually, I want to move the magnets over for this. I don't want to get paint all over the place up there. Yeah, that helps out a lot. Okay. Okay, so that's kind of a pinkish color, so I'm going to use the same white, and I'm just going to add a little bit of, again, the real, like the thing that ties the series together is this Wicked Pyro red. That's going to be the red that most of these, or all these cars are going to be kind of based off of. So while I could grab crimson or, you know, one of the other reds, I really want to try to focus on this red as much as possible so that the series has that continuity that I'm looking for. So I just add a little bit of the Pyro red to that, and it gives me a good pink. Philip, what's up? Glad you made it too. All right, back flush this. Lovely. Pink. All right, so for the pink, it starts from the bottom and moves up, and then I'm going to use this all over the place in a second. Good. This whole thing back here is pretty much pink, so we're just going to kind of hit the whole thing. Again, you can see how much less paint it takes to do that job with the white underneath it, the primer, which is white. If that was gray, I'd have to do this all in pink, essentially, first. This side highlight is, or the reflection on the side is pretty bright, so I just need a couple quick passes of the pink, and that'll do that. Now again, this pink is made up of opaque white and pink, so this will allow me to do some blending with this, which will be good. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend the area between these two with this pink as well. Again, for the same reason, I can use the strength of this white to really kind of set the stage. Now I just want to avoid, what I really should do is cover up this chrome tail that I've already finished. So I will in a second. I just want to kind of start getting the paint in. There's white down here too, which I didn't get in, but I can do that after. And again, I don't have the chrome trim on the top of this fin, so I don't have to really worry about getting, you know, a little bit of paint on that. I just want to really be careful not to get paint on the finished part. I could drop some adhesive mask over that and just block it off, which would probably be easiest. But I don't know if I want to take the time to do that right now. This pink does a great job of mixing with that sunset color too as well, which is really good. The bowl bottom section is really red. So, I mean, I can kind of put some pink down there, but it's not, it's going to get all blocked off anyway by the red. Lovely. Since I'm doing that, I might as well do some up here too. It's going to be a pretty dark reflection of the back windshield. Good, 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 good. What am I missing here? Let me get that white in there before I do the red. So once the red's going to kind of tie everything together. I know it looks like a crazy mess right now, but trust me. We put a little bit more white because there's some white right over here that I didn't get in. And I want to get this stuff done before I start putting the red in, because the red's really the last step. Or not, well, the base red of the car, the you know, the actual color of the car is next, and then the darkest reflections are really last, and then, you know, whatever super bright highlights are on there too. But I don't want to be putting white, trying to get white in after the fact. I mean, I can do some white, but if you start getting into a lot of reflections, like it'll just get weird. The blue, it'll shift blue everywhere, and it's just a pain in the butt. Gotta go. James, have a great one. Thanks. Yes, thank you. Hit that like button. Enzo, no, we're still just kind of going along. Thanks, Enzo, for jumping back in, though. Yes, please hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, welcome. Subscribe. Hang out with us. Paint some stuff. I love that this cheap red chair that I got for the Vision Air setup here, where I do all the live feeds and everything, it has turned into the squeaky chair, or a squeaky chair. Again, mostly because it's cheap as hell. That's why, but still, it's funny that it creaks every time I move in it now. And again, that's partially because I have additional girth that I did not have at the beginning of the summer, which, again, we have to address. We have to address that. All right, straight white. This I am going to use a stencil on. So hopefully one of these ones I have a good cutout for. Yeah, right there. See that the reflection right there? It's the white part above it that I need. So, and this is super hard edged as well. So this is a good chance for a template. This is a good time to use one of these. And of course, this is the reflection of the fin over here. And I'm going to cut out that as well. So I'm just going to cut the whole thing out. Now with this, all I really need is this corner right here. So I can just cut out that and then fold it back. And that's all I really need. I don't have to go and cut out the whole thing. So it just saves a little bit of time that way too. Okay. You guys are in a good spot. There we go. And what's convenient is this is a template from the pink, so I can use the pink to line it up, so I don't have to go through all that again. Oh, that's lovely. Magnet over here, white over here. Excellent. So that brightens that up well, and yeah, I'm happy with that. There's also some clouds on top of that too. What do you know about that? All right, let's do that. So there are clouds. The bottom edge of the cloud kind of has a purpley pinkish tone to it too. So we're gonna prep for that as well. So that's on top of this bright yellow area here. So the danger, again, with that gray base, the yellow has, the white will have a tendency to bring the green back out in the yellow, which is unusual, but that's what it does. Again, if this was white, it would be a lot easier because I wouldn't be fighting all that. I could just kind of poke in the colors, but this is going to work okay. I'm also kind of feeling that this range of clouds, the top of the clouds up here, are too yellow, too greenish. So I'm going to add some white to that too, just to kind of cover them over a little bit. I'm not overly worried about like a slight green shift in the yellow because there's so much red going to go on this that the red will automatically cancel out all the green. So I'm not really overly worried about that. But still, it's like I talk about all the time, you know, if you can save yourself the trouble of not having to go through it, then don't go through it. So, all right, I think we're ready for the red. Clean this out of this brush. So with the red, I'm going to start with anywhere where the red is just straight up. There's nothing going on with it. No reflections, no highlights. I mean, there could be highlights on it, but I'm looking for the fields of red that are just basically the actual red of the car. So the lower part of the boot, around the license plate tag, that kind of thing, that's primary red. That's the red of the car, which is great. Plus a little bit above here is you know, the red part, but this area right here especially is the red, which is nice. Unless, yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah. So when I do that, I'm going to need a new copy. But with this one, I can use do I want to use a lighter copy? Yeah, I do. So I use a more exposed copy. So I use this one for this. I want to kind of ignore a lot of the smaller details, and when it's overexposed like this, it really helps. Yeah, so what I'm looking at is this, basically this section right in here that we just did. That's what we want. Put this aside. But I'm going to take it in two sections, basically. So again, the two sections are this area right here. So we'll get that first. Since that's our cleanest field of red, really. There's not much going on there because it's reflecting, you know, the ground and everything, all that fun stuff. What do I do with the plate? I know what I'll do with the plate. All right. I'm going to cut out the license plate. Oh, I don't have a magnet. We have tape. This is also what I do all day. Just kind of talk to myself. So I'm glad you guys are here because it seems less psychotic when I'm talking and there are people here. All right, I'm going to save this. Let's put the plate aside for a second. I don't know what I'm going to put on the license plate. James, have a good one, buddy. Yeah, that's what it does. I still have the other squeaky chair. I just use it on the other bench nowadays. All right, so now I can cut out the whole thing. So I'm going to use a little bit of tape to hold that plate down when we're ready to spray. So I'm going to not do the darker area here. I could do the whole thing and then kind of tint that area, but because I'm dealing with that gray base, I'm going to leave it because I'm going to have to really develop an entirely specific color for that. The reflection wonderfully cuts across the chevron, the Chevy chevron logo in the back, which is great. Because essentially what I can do is, did I cut that out? I can cut around it, the logo, and it leaves the logo in, which is awesome. Same thing, yeah, so watch when I cut the top of this out. The logo is still attached, which is just excellent because it just saves time having to try to find it later. There we go. There we go. What do I do with this? So that's going to be a separate section. Let's I think I can grab this one too, since I'm in the neighborhood. That fades a lot, doesn't it? It really does. Okay. Those are lines. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, that goes there, and this goes here. Yep, awesome. And the chrome window is a good place to trim on the window is a good place to cut this off. Oh, did I do that yet? Good. Okay, that gives me my red. I'm sure Einstein talked to himself. Thank you, making me feel better. And it's funny, it's not all the time. I don't know why. Like usually it happens when I'm all alone. Like there's no one in the house. That's usually when it happens. But when there are people in the house, I don't usually talk to myself. And it's not a conscious thing. I don't know. Weird. All right. I know more than you wanted to know. So let's line this up. That edge right there. Make sure we're good on that. I'm going to do these in two separate sections so I can put the magnet right over this because I'm not going to do that section up there until after. All right, so this is going to tell the whole story right now. So I talk about this a lot, or I have talked about this, where are you in a painting where it's worth it to take a step back and redo something or even start over. So this is a good example of that. Like I'm fighting this gray throughout this whole painting now so far. It would be a lot easier if it was white. So I'm going to do this red. If I pull this and it looks like ass, you know, meaning the red doesn't cover the way it should, which it should. But if it doesn't, then I'm going to, you know, probably abort and just repaint the whole body white and start over. Not with you guys, but get the idea. The question is do I want to prime it with white first? I kind of don't want to. No, I'm not gonna. We're gonna go for it because I want to see if this works. Because if it works, then if I have to prime everything with white first before I do every single section, then it's worth it to just cover it and, you know, do the whole thing white. These are my train wrecks of thought, just so you know. All right, again, Wicked Pyro red. Love it, love it, love it. And this now, I do have to reduce this a little bit because the opaque colors are pretty heavy, especially through the micron. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it with a little bit of 4011, which is 5 parts of 4011 and 1 part of 4050. So you don't really need the 4050 with this, but I really like the way that it just keeps the stuff strong. Wayne, what's up, buddy? Wayne has one of these cars, except Wayne's is not this color. Wayne, your paintings are on the way, by the way. If they do not melt getting there with your 120-degree days, you should have them in a day or two. Okay, so this will be your testimony to the Wicked Opaque, the new opaque line. I keep calling it the new opaque line. I should start calling it the recent opaque line, but this is it. If this covers the right way and it really is brilliant in red, then we'll be in good shape. Again, I went to the trouble of covering or leaving this in. I would like to save it. However, I'm going to paint it over anyway because of the logo is chrome and all that. So it's not like I'm going to cut that out and then it's going to be perfectly clean forever, unless it was an adhesive mask. But I don't want a ton of paint under there either. So, all right, so I'm going to start with the lower part. Thanks, Wayne. Yeah, that was awesome. That was fun. Wayne, that's one of those pictures that I talk about. You know, I did the 543, and I was able to spend some extra time on it. But that's the kind of thing that I would have loved to like paint a big version of. It's just it has two of my favorite things in it. You know. All right, so at this point we're gonna play the Do We Need to Abort game. Actually, no, we're not. I'll tell you when we're gonna check to see if we're gonna abort yet. But for those who want the spoiler alert, I am 96.5% for aborting at this point because I can see what's going on. All right, and I'll show you. I am going to abort, and I'll show you why. Okay. So, that's opaque red. That's super dark. Let me show you what this color looks like on a white base. Now, I could build that up and keep building it up, and it would eventually cover. It would eventually jump back to the color of that it's supposed to be, that, you know, its regular color. But it would take a lot of paint to cover that. What you're seeing is you're seeing the gray primer through the red paint. Even though it's opaque, it takes time to build up. But there's the red on white. You see the difference. It also even has a more orange tone. So this is also what I was talking about with this series now. If I do this and I finish this painting and I can get it to work, it'll be fine or whatever. The next painting, if I do the whole thing in white, it's good. The red's going to be this color. It's not going to be that color. See what I mean? And I don't want that. So we are going to abort on this, but it's not as bad as you think. What I might do with you guys then, yeah, let's do the roof. What I'm going to do is it's really simple. I'm actually just going to like blast off this and then repaint it white and go for it. But we're going to do this section up here first, so you guys can actually see how it looks without the screw up. Fortunately, I haven't primed all the other boards yet, which is good. So what I'll end up doing is I'll prime all the boards white with a Autoborn sealer white instead of gray. Now this is odd. This is odd because I don't know why I would have primed these gray, because these are full color paintings. That is odd. Again, works great if you're doing a black and white, but it doesn't necessarily work. Change it to my blue. I could do that. If I did that, I'd have to change all the reflection in the chrome too, but yeah. And this would actually work for you, Wayne, because this wheel looks like a Krager-ish wheel, but it's still, you can't tell, so you never know that it wasn't your wheel with the angle I have this at. All right, you know what? This is fun. Since I gotta, well, what am I gonna do with this? What am I gonna do with this? Let me ask you guys, do you want to see how I would start to fix this, or would you like to see how it's going to be done right on the roof? I'll wait a few minutes for the folks that are in. So you could just say roof or fix. So roof or fix. Roof would be painting in the roof the way it's supposed to be. So I'll paint the I'll paint the white, white in first, and then I'll just do the red and it'll be done. Or if you want to see how I'm going to fix this, I can do that too. That's a little bit more, kind of nitty-gritty, technical, non-artistic type stuff. But it's also fun because, if you've ever painted and you got yourself into a mess like I have right now. So Philip says fix. There's one for fix. Which I'm totally down for. as I drink coffee, because I need that. Fix. All right, 2 for fix. We'll do fix. All right, let's fix this. So first thing I'm going to do is I do need to protect this now. This, because I'm going to be doing some pretty heavy duty stuff on this, and it's paper template isn't gonna cut it. I'm not as worried about the bottom, the fender here, the top of the fender, because I've only just put the base blue in. So if stuff gets on that, like the white, it's not going to make any difference. But all that work I did on the tail, I don't want to run into having a problem with that. So again, this is FBS Gold. So I'm going to use this because what's nice about this tape is you can kind of see through it, which is great. Yeah, that's the beauty of it, Wayne. Because I have all the templates, it doesn't. Yeah, it's not a loss by any stretch. In fact, there are a couple 543s that I thought I lost, but I didn't. Ironically, I shipped them and didn't know, or I forgot. It was 4 of them actually, and I thought I lost them all. So I ended up redoing them, but I had all the templates, so they literally took like a third of the time. It was great. All right, so we're gonna come in a little bit on this because I can always touch up the edges of this, the tail pieces, like the tail light and the fin. So that's okay. Now the other good thing about this is, so I'm not changing the color of this. I mean, yeah, well, I mean, I could, but if Wayne wanted this, I'd want to do one this size of his car. You know what I mean? It's like, this is nice, but this isn't his car. And if I'm going to spend that kind of time on it, like I said, the wheels are different than his, and I'd hate to, I don't know. It's just the way I am. But anyway, because this car is going to stay red, the repair is actually pretty easy on it. All I'm really trying to get rid of is the gray. If there's pink left over here, it's not going to make a difference because it's going to be red. So it's actually a much easier fix than you would think. Being real careful not to like dig hard into this. This tape is super, super thin. So if you've ever worked with like Frisket, Frisket is really kind of a thick plastic, not thick, but it's thicker than this. And it takes some work to get through it. You need a super sharp knife and all that fun stuff. This is not like that. So if you've worked with Frisket and then jumped to this tape, you really got to put the brakes on because you can really dig down into that surface hard, and we don't want that. All right, so that's all I need to do. I'm not worrying about the bottom because I'm not painting down there. So we're just looking at the bits and pieces of the body. So now that that's done, I can use the regular paper copies. However, I can't use any of the ones I've already cut yet because what I'm doing is I'm priming the whole car white, essentially. That's the first step. So first I got to look to see if I can do this in one template, and I probably can't, and I probably shouldn't have to, or I shouldn't try because that's just silly. I got a bunch of 3M tape that I'm really excited to start digging into. And there's some tape that's similar to the FBS tapes. So that'll be a lot of fun to kind of dig into that. All right, so the way I got to do this, I'm going to leave the chrome. I'm not going to cut out any of that. I'm just really, anything that's red of the car is what I want to, is kind of what I want to grab. And since I'm on this, on the top piece, I can include the chrome trim on this piece up here. I won't include the chrome everywhere on this car because it's the chrome that's going to hold this template together as well. And that'll make more sense when I get there. But I'm glad you guys got to see like a change in direction mid-painting. It doesn't make me sad or anything, but when someone looks at a painting and thinks that everything went perfect all the way through, and that's how it always is, I want to make sure, especially someone who's like struggling with it, I want to make sure, or new, I want to make sure they know that that's completely normal and it never really goes away. Like if it ever did, I'd be bored. If I ever got to a point where I had a technique down so well that I could just go on autopilot, I mean, why would you do it? You know what I mean? just that little bit of challenge, or messing with the screw ups, it keeps it interesting. Now, that being said, I don't want that on every painting because we got to get stuff done, but it's certainly okay wrestling with it every once in a while. And when I say once in a while, it really is a lot. That's the other thing, it's like, I hope people don't think that, like I said, that these things just fall out of the brush and then it's done. It's never like that. All right, so what am I looking at here? That's the pillar, all of it. I think I can grab that. Even the 543s, I've been doing those. I've done more than 1,000 of them because I've been doing them for more than 2 years now. And even those, they're sometimes things go sideways, and with those it's easy. You just start them over. It hasn't happened often, but there is no. I mean, unless it's a really super minor fix, those happen so fast. It's usually always worth starting over. All right, and I've only had to abort on a couple of them. So that's good. All right, so when I line this up, obviously I have, so I see how I left the tail here, the tail light, and it's blocked off. This is just, it is what it is. This is really what's blocking this off and keeping it clean. This is just really insurance. Line this up, and we are gonna clean this up. Now, I don't have enough jumbo magnets to get all of this done, so I got to be kind of careful with it. So what do we got here? 2 to 1, 1 to 2. Let's go 1 to 1, see what we got. All right, so what we're doing is anywhere where there's gray needs to be white. I don't have to really like hammer the entire thing. You'll see. I just want to kind of remove that gray, and also I have to cover this red now, because if I don't, obviously it'll stay that red, and I don't want that. So opaque white. When things seem to be going right, there's something wrong. I agree with that. Ryan, what's up, buddy? My pigs never go easy on me. Franz, then you're doing it right. You're doing it right, man. All right. Again, this is just opaque white. So I'm just going to start really lightly going over everything. First thing, actually, before I do that, let's see how much paint is on here. So what I need to do is grab a glove here. I don't want to get a bunch of fingerprints on here. I want to see how much paint is on here first. So what I'm looking for is like a ridge, especially where this white was. A little bit there. All right. So then before I do that, I'm going to grab some 1500 like this. And I'm just going to really lightly go over those paint ridges. I don't want any ridges when I do this. Now the nice thing about this stuff, even the wicked colors, if you have any 40/50 in them, see how it powders off when you start sanding it, and it ends up powdering on the pad. Now watch this. So there's paint on there, right? That I just sanded. I'm going to go down and on my pant leg and just swipe it on my pant leg. It's all gone. This stuff powders with the 40/50 in it, which is unbelievable. It's so nice. If you were to do this with Createx, like the fabric color or any acrylic, say like, I don't know, golden. Well, I'll assume it's golden because I haven't used golden in a while, but golden before, you couldn't do that. If you were to sand that color, it would get gummy and it would fill up the pad, and it would nothing, wouldn't come off. It would just be gross. But this stuff always does that. It's pretty amazing. It's the only reason I immediately jumped on this and said, let me sand this, because I knew I could get away with it. I don't have a whole ton of paint up here, so I don't really have to worry about this top one a little bit, but we'll hit it again. Lovely. And I know I have a lot of paint down here in the opaque, so I'm just gonna kind of help things along down here as well. Same thing. So there's all the red, right? And it's gone. It's like a magic trick, right? Stuff is awesome. Anyway, now before I go and put the paint on it, I'm gonna reapply or put this template on after again, because what I really want to do now is I got to make sure I get all that sand, the sanded paint, the dust off of here. I don't want to seal that in there. Okay. And that's a good, like I was talking about the little model that I'm working on. That's what it's like. It's just great to be able to sand, and it sands like a powder that you can't even see. It's so fine when you use fine paper. It just powders regardless. And that's just really, really nice, especially for like the modeling, which, you don't need something that's going to be super grainy, nasty. This is anything but. All right, I'm going to grab a few more bigger magnets, see if I can get away with this. Make my life easy. Yeah, good. It worked out. Can I do one more? Will it let me do one more? I'll try it. Yeah, all right. Back to it. So again, a little bit of insurance, just blow this off a little bit, make sure I have all the dust off it. And back at it. This is a neat trick too for holding down a large straight area of a template. I use these meat skewers and just kind of hold them over the edge, and it holds the whole edge down. Now, really, really light coats. Like everything. I keep saying really light coats all the time because it always is really light coats. Light spray keeps underspray at bay. The paint can't get underneath really easily because you're not spraying a whole bunch of it at any one time. It just goes on much more evenly. Just good all around. Mr. Garcia, what is up? Mr. Garcia, you have a couple things on the way as well. Chris, you're jumped in the midst of what could go wrong. So there we go. Ryan, so what I ended up doing was I don't know why I based this painting, why I primed this painting with Autoborn Sealer Gray. I should have done Autoborn Sealer White. So I started painting it, and it's when you do gray, you have to fight it throughout the whole thing because the colors aren't as brilliant. They just don't, you're seeing the gray through it. It's why people do underpainting, so you can get a feel for that color underneath a lot of times. However, in this case, I want a brilliant, bright red car, and it just would have been a fight through the whole painting. So we're cutting our losses and respraying this with white first before we start doing the red. That's what you missed. Yes, slow and steady does win the race. I agree. I'm probably at a point where I could stop, but I'm just going to keep going with it. The reason why, again, now I'm thinking about the series again. So this is pretty white. I mean, and if I do the red on this, it's going to be pretty brilliant red, But if you hold this up against one of the other car paintings that I'm going to do, and it was completely white that I painted on, it's going to be more brilliant than this by a little bit. So I don't want that. So that's why I'm going to keep going. Let me dry this off really well. There we go. Is that white paint now or sealer? So Ryan, it's an excellent question. No, this is opaque white. I could have used sealer, but I'd have to thin it down a lot to get it to go through the brush and be controllable like this. and I don't want to do that. So I'm just using the opaque white because I can get a little bit better coverage thinner than I could with the sealer. The sealer, while you can use it, you know, as a color, essentially, you could airbrush with it. It's really designed to go edge to edge. It's designed to be like just the base coat. It doesn't like to be feathered. It doesn't like to be, you know, detail painted with or anything like that. You could do it if you had to, but it's definitely not the first choice. So if I had an option with something like this that has a little bit more finesse to it, I'll always go with the opaque white. And I'll show you why again in a second. I'm at work. My phone is buffering. I'll have to watch later. Okay, Chris, have a good one. Don't do anything dumb. And stop the dumb from happening. All right, that's going to be good right there. So let me dry this up. But I'm not going to take the white out yet because I want to show you one more thing. And this kind of plays into that same thing we were just doing. Take all this off. See how we did. Yeah, we're in good shape. I'm not worried about this line down here below the trunk lid that I missed. It's going to be dark red anyway. All right, so right here there's a couple little chunks of white. Gotta wait for this to dry a little bit. So I'm going to see if I can do it with you guys while we're here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can get really close. How close can I get? Maybe I get yeah, you can see it right there. It's a little chunk of paint right there. What I'll be able to do once it dries, it's still, you know, curing right now. But once that dries, I'll be able to take that 1500 and just really lightly sand that, and I'll just be able to sand that off. Again, couldn't do that 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You couldn't do that with this paint. It's so nice. All right. So while I'm letting that dry, I'll just do the primer on the rest of the car now. So that was the, you know, the boot. So let's do the hood and the side of this car. I think I can do that all in one shot. The roof and then and then both sides, above and below the trim on the side there. So we're going to cut this out. You know what I may do? This may be the project for Monday night. Again, usually it's reversed. Usually I'll do, you know, whatever I'm doing on Monday night, and then I'll just do this. I'll just continue it on Thursday. But last week we reversed it, and I think I'm going to reverse it again because I feel bad. I want you guys to be able to see this come together. I don't want you to think, you know. And then he puts it in the oven, and like magic, it's done. I want you guys to see, you know, what that struggle ended up resulting in. So I'll probably end up working on this on Monday. Plus, again, I really want to get this done. So, that being said, by Monday, what I'll probably try to have done is the interior, so I can just work on the body with everyone. So I can get the hood out. We get the roof out, and I think I can get the whole side of the car done too. This side of the car is really dark. You know, I could get away with not. I could just use the gray base, but again, I don't want this dark reflection to be very different from all the others in the series. There is, I don't know if Wayne's still on, but Wayne, there is a gentleman who has this car around here. I took this picture in Massachusetts. I got this photo from a guy in Massachusetts, or I took it from his car. But there's a guy out here that drives by very frequently, drives down our street. We have kind of a crossway, so you get a lot of traffic. And he drives by, and the thing is just, it makes me smile every time it goes by. All right, so what am I doing? I'm doing, white, right. I was looking at the red there for a second. But I don't want that. I want everything. There's also a guy who has, I haven't gotten close enough to really see, but he has a late 50s Corvette that he'll always bomb down the street in too. which is pretty nice. Ohioans do love their cars and motorcycles. Some will let their houses go to shite, but they do love their cars and motorcycles. And we have Quaker City, I don't know what they call it now, Quaker City Dragway or Raceway. So there's lots of nice stuff going on there too. All right, is that everything? No, they got to do the pillar, right? No, I got the pillar on the last one. Okay, good. There's red in here too. Oh, you can see through the windows. This thing. Here's another thing. I don't know where my head is at with this. I'm going to show you something else too. This is going to be one that when I get done, I'll be like, I'm glad it's done. Because I am just on the struggle bus hard. You can see through the windows, right? So what I normally do when I do the background is I'll cut out all the windows so that when I spray this nice fade, it's all even all the way through. Did I do that here? No. Not only that, the silver is probably going to show through these top windows here maybe. So I'm going to have to do that too. What an asterisk. Anyway, moving right along. Oh, Wayne, I love that. I have been terrible, absolutely terrible finding the local car shows. Living in Massachusetts for so long, I knew where they all were, and I would go to all of them, and there would be a regular circuit that I do every, whatever, and I don't know, I just haven't done it here, which bums me out because I know they're around. There we go. Again, I blocked this off. I'm not going to worry with magnets on the trim and stuff. If white gets under there, it's going to have to be, it's going to be that chromy bluish color anyway, so it doesn't really matter. In fact, I could have just, should I? Yeah. I was going to say I could just cut it all out, and I think I will to save myself aggravation. So you may want to ask, how can I cut this out without screwing up the board underneath? I hate to do this with my ruler, but I'm going to do this with my ruler. You can slip something underneath where you want to cut, and then you don't have to worry about cutting through the board. Now, obviously, I'm cutting on my ruler and putting a scratch in my ruler, and if that bothers you, then don't do that. Pick something else, like a piece of cardboard or something, but it works really well at protecting what you don't want paint on. I'm going to hold this side down. I do need a magnet. No, I don't need a magnet over here because the tape is there. I'm going to put a magnet here just in case. A little bit of insurance, but that's it. All right. Let's look at the white in here. I need a little bit more white. By the time I get this done, I'll be able to fix that little blob that was on the back. And Wayne, I know we talked about a big painting. If you are interested, I know we were just talking about turning this one blue. If you are interested in one this size, that is not what I was talking to you about. So the quote that I gave you for the big painting is this is probably about half of that. So it gives you a much better idea. And as I would have done it anyway because you're Wayne and you're awesome, but the sale price, you could include the sale in that too. Or take the sale price, sale percentage off of that too. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit. You can let that kind of dry up. I'm going to do the same thing for the the hood. I mean, why do I keep calling it the hood? I need to take a nap. I need nappy time. All right, the roof. Jeez Louise. And this should be dry now. And Wayne, if you do want one of these, I promise I won't screw it up as much as I screwed this one up. All right, so this side I don't have to go completely crazy with because, again, that whole side of the car is in shadow. So that's going to be a much deeper, darker red anyway. And I think I've got enough on there. The roof, however, is a different deal. That's got, you can see the reflection of the sky in the roof. So I do want to make sure that's caught up. Yeah, I have a lot to do before Monday. So here's what I'm going to do before Monday. I'll pull that off now so you can see the completed repair so far. But now we're caught up to where I would be if this was just, you know, if I had done this the right way from the start. The nice thing about the interior is mainly gray. It's a black interior, so there's a lot of, you know, cool blues and blacks and stuff. So I can leave the gray there. That's fine. It's just where the pop of color is. That's really what I needed that white for. And that's it. Now I'm ready to rock and roll. I have all the templates cut out. I may have to adjust some of the templates now because, again, I was dealing with having to fight that red with the cutouts I have. So, you know, from here it's actually going to be a little bit easier. But I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to start that on I love my white fingers. Sorry, distracted. I'm going to save that for the feed so that you guys can see it from this point on. But what I'm going to do during the week end, or the last, you know, end of this week and beginning of next week to get ready, I can work on the wheels and the tires. I can work on the interior. I'm going to not do the chrome until the end, which is how I usually do it. Do I want to leave that covered or not? I'll pull it so you can see it. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. So I can do all that before Monday. So the Monday comes, what I'll do is I'll just work on the boot, the trunk. And that'll be good. That'll give people a good, you know, a good feel for how these things come together when I'm not screwing them up. But even now, even with the white, it just like pops off. It's like crazy. It's like three-dimensional. I don't even have the clear on it yet. And let's just do a quick check here because I know it's going to happen. We got two things to do left before I let you guys go. Find a good copy here. This one will work. I'm just going to grab this for a second. Line that up where it's supposed to be. And yeah, you're going to see that stripe through the front windshield. So I'll have that done. That's silver. I got to do that. And I also have to put in I'm going to paint in the background and catch the background up. I just have to match it to what's going on back here. And that'll be good. Yeah, other than that, I think it doesn't completely suck. Tim, John Luke Smith. Timothy, I was asleep by 9 o'clock last night. I did not get to watch your feed. I went in to drop a movie or watched a movie at 8 o'clock, and I was sound asleep with my glasses firmly crushed underneath me, and I missed your feed, so I apologize for that. But I will definitely, what I usually do when I miss feeds, I usually just watch them while I'm working, and it's great. So let me tilt this a little bit so you can get a non-skewed view of it. So all that painting today, and all we did was make a white car. But hopefully you can appreciate the joy of a good screw up. Tim, you missed it. I had this gray base for the painting, which I don't know why I did. And then I started painting the red on it, and the red even the opaque red would have taken a ton to cover. So I'm like, let's abort and redo this. So I painted the rest of it white, fixed it, and ready to go. What could go wrong? Chris is back. Yes. So one quick last little note. Again, here's the 1500 again. So we had that little pebble up in here. So I'm just gonna. I love these little foam pads. You can do all kinds of stuff with them, like roll them, and they're not the greatest. These are Amazon specials. I doubt this is even 1500. So you gotta be real familiar with how the grain feels on the paper, so you don't like grab the one that says 1500 and it's really like it's 600. You don't want that. So anyway, but other than that, you can fold it so you can make a small little almost eraser, and then I can just really lightly go over that one little spot. And that was it wasn't in the white. Interesting. I know it's not in the white because when I sanded that, let's get you close. Come on. There we go. See that little speck right there now? The gray speck? So I sanded right down to the white, and I ended up going down to the base. So that was in the base, which is okay. But there it is again. So see that white streak on the sandpaper? That's opaque white. Now I'll go down to my pants. I'll do one swipe, and it's gone. And just to prove that I'm not lying to you, I'm not swapping it around, so I'm using another side. This stuff sands really nice. In fact, I'll do a little bit more just so you know I'm being honest with you. Like that. There's all the white, and I won't even bring it down to my pantaloons. I'll just use paper towel, and it's gone. It just powders off. So the stuff is crazy. It's crazy good. Crazy good. Good. I'm glad, Ryan, because that's, I agree. I love to see how someone jumps back from something that maybe didn't work out the way they had planned. And that one certainly did. But again, I'm not, I wasn't freaking out. It is what it is. And again, it's just a good example of when to like pull the plug, when to say, okay, take a step back, regroup, and then hit it again. Sometimes it's just not worth fighting all the way through. It's, take your losses and keep it going. All right. So I'm going to switch back to, oh yeah, real quick. Gratuitous self-promotion. There's your code. That goes for everything on the site, including originals, and you know how much I hate discounting original paintings. But I can't figure out how to do individual categories for the code. So you guys win on that one. So you can save a bunch of money on a full-blown painting. But you can also save on the 543s, you can save on framing, you can save on the prints, you can save on the download, whatever you want. So that is how that goes. So there is that. Let me just switch that around. So that's good. Pick that camera. We'll move you guys over here. We'll switch back to this one. There we go. I'm going to do a Tech Tuesday. I keep saying it. I got to do a Tech Tuesday on these lights. I love them. They are awesome. And that's what I got. So that's your Thursday. All right. What else? That's it. Monday is the next fun thing. Thank you for joining me today. It was a blast hanging out with you all, even though we, got to flop around in what could go wrong land. I still think it works. Yeah, so if you're around on Monday, please come by, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'll be giving away another painting. I'm really excited about the 5 that are coming. The suggestions were amazing last week. It was actually hard to pick 5, but I picked some fun ones. So that's what's going on Monday, and then we're back at it. So thanks. Hope you guys have a great week, and I will catch you all later. Thanks a lot.